Have you ever wanted more pleasure in your life? Well, you've come to the right space. Okay, my name is Rachel and I've been intimacy coaching for 11 years, and that's inspired me to do a series every single month talking about ways to incorporate pleasure into your everyday life for yourself, but also a partnered relationship if you're interested in that. And this series for the month of December, we've been talking about the things, in my opinion, that are really hindering us from having the best relationships we could ever have, whether this is with a partner or a relative, a family member, friend, whatever, okay? It's greed, okay? I know that there's a lot of conversation, as there should be, about the tangible effects of greed, hoarding money, not sharing resources, all of those things. But at the bottom of that, what we have to recognize is that this is still a fear. It's a fear of lack. If I share, I won't have enough for myself. That is the very primal aspect behind greed. And it's not just money, it's resources, but it's also love. If I give this away, I don't have enough for me. And by the way, it works in reverse, where it's like, oh, I can't get to that level because then other people have to go without. I could never make that kind of money because then it takes away from other people making that kind of money. Very limiting belief. Also not true. Money's made up. They just keep printing more of it. If you're talking about money specifically, right? If you're talking about money and around greed, okay? It's not just that though. Like I said, there's greed around. Here's the example of love. Okay. I'm going to tell you a very limited time, but here's the shortest version I can give you. When my husband and I got together, we were a blended family. He had a son from a previous relationship. I had my son. We had a daughter together, but that part's mute. What's important is that I grew up in a household that I craved my father's attention, and I did not get it until I was in roughly late 20s, early 30s. So when my husband came along, and this was the first really successful, healthy relationship I ever had, he checked all the boxes and then some. Meaning he gave me the love and attention from a male figure that my little version of me was so desperately seeking to feel validated and loved. And what that did was it created contention between myself and my stepson without my poor stepson ever knowing it. Because how could I share the love from this great man that I never got from my father? How could I share this with somebody else? It needs to be all for me to validate that I am an okay person. Now, I'm going to take that one step further, that the greater trauma that I was suffering from is that my stepson is me when I was a kid. Very artistic, very wordy, very verbal, whatever. We were very similar. And then I was over here witnessing my husband doing exactly what he needed to do, which was unconditionally loving that son. And so that stirred shit in my little girl, right? I'm not proud of this, but I want you to hear this. I'm going to go past the 3-minute mark, so just hear me. I'm not proud of it, but I can recognize that not only was he giving me the love that I searched for from my father, but he was also loving his child completely, acceptedly, in ways that my dad did not for me. And so now I was bitter and angry because how dare you show up like this and still get love? So before I was healed, before I had awareness, before I could recognize all of those really pathetic, low-level feeling emotions that a stepmom should never harbor towards a completely innocent child, I didn't know any better. And now, of course, I'm in a place much better. I love my kiddo. I always love my kiddo, but I can understand how I was affecting him negatively, even if it wasn't coming out of my mouth directly. Energetically speaking, the resentment I was hovering over that poor kid. So it's so important that we understand that the realization I came to is that love is infinite. My husband won't love me any less when he's loving his kid. My husband won't give me any less love when he needs to support his kid. That is the mentality we need to come from. It's unlimited. It's unlimited, but we have been conditioned for lack and FOMO for these reasons. Because if I would have never gotten to that point, what kind of trauma would I have inflicted on my stepson? Not his fault. Not his fault, but my responsibility to heal me and understand my programming. All right, like I said, I went over the time, so I'm just got to go. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.